Okay, again, going over this last question. Sorry about the little mishap there, folks. Following World War II, where was the largest concentration of communist countries? It's right here in Eastern Europe. You need to underline that, okay? Or write it in if it's been changed, okay? So, what is this whole area called? This group of communist countries right here. Man. Well, anyway, this group of communist countries is called the Iron Curtain. This is kind of aggravating. All right. So, the Berlin airlift is the next question. Marks the first conflict in the Cold War. As a result of World War II, Germany was split into two halves. We have East and West Germany. We control Western Germany, and the Soviets control Eastern Germany. Now, inside of Eastern Germany, which is the Soviet part, you have the capital city of Berlin. So if you look at this map right here, y'all, we got Britain controlling this area, we have the French get this area, and the American section. Now, this is the Soviet section of Germany. Inside right here, this place, that's Berlin. That's the capital of the entire country. But we have split it as well. We not only split the country in half, but we split the capital in half. So the west side of Berlin, even though it's inside of Soviet territory, belongs to the Allies, while the eastern side belongs to the communists. So this was to ensure that Germany could never ever rise again. There was no more Germany. There's East Germany and there's West Germany, and it's all occupied by Allied forces. So Stalin, he starts getting upset because he says that there are spies coming in to East Berlin, to the communist part. See, we had to supply Berlin because it's like a capitalist island in a sea of communism. So we had to bring supplies in, and in the early days we had permission to drive 18-wheelers in and stuff like that, and it worked well for a long time. But Stalin wanted all of Berlin for himself. So what he did is he basically said that as the 18-wheelers were supplying West Berlin, that they were basically dropping off spies, and some of the drivers were spies. So Stalin sieged Berlin. He completely surrounded Berlin, and he wouldn't allow supplies in or out. Well, our president at the time called his bluff. He figured that if we dropped supplies in by air, that there's no way that Stalin would risk having a nuclear war or having World War III over a half of a city. And he was correct. For over a year, we embarrassed Joseph Stalin by dropping millions of tons of goods into West Germany, while the East Germans, which have communists now, are starving to death, okay? Everybody wanted to get out of this area. They all wanted to go to West Germany. So Stalin gets really upset about this, and after a year, he finally breaks his siege, but he's really, really angry about it, okay? And because of that, when Stalin backed down after that, Nikita Khrushchev, the next president, is going to build the Berlin Wall around later on. Okay, the United States responds with the creation of... Okay, no, I skipped something. Hold on. Okay, the Soviets sought to gain control of West Berlin. The U.S. Yeah, okay, I didn't skip anything. Okay, because this Berlin airlift was so successful, we responded by creating NATO. Okay, NATO. Okay, you remember World War I. We have the Central Powers and we have the Allies. And then World War II, we have the Axis power and the Allies. Well, for the Cold War, it's going to be NATO, which is us, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. That's all the countries in blue here, or purple, depending on how your screen sees it, against the Warsaw Pact. Okay, the Warsaw Pact is going to be Russia mainly. China is going to be involved, which makes it huge. And then you have North Korea as well. So these countries are the good guys, NATO. The Warsaw Pact are the bad guys in the Cold War. No more allies, no more Central Powers, none of that. It's NATO versus the Warsaw Pact. Okay? So, moving on. Soviets countered with creation of the Warsaw Pact, consisting of Soviet Union and Eastern European countries, which Soviets captured during World War II and were given to him by Yalta. Okay, at Yalta. All right, here we go. Question number 3. The airlift of food, fuel, and equipment into West Berlin in 1948 was necessary because of the Soviet Union's blockade of all roads and railroad access into West Berlin. The motivation for the blockade was the Soviet Union belief that blank. So why did Stalin blockade the city? That's what it's really asking, okay? So what did he want in total, in the end? Well, he wanted to take over all of Berlin. That was his goal, okay? So blockade would effectively give the Soviets control of the whole city, okay? So Berlin would become a part of East Germany. Now, I hate this question because both of them are correct on this one. If you miss a few fine details, both of the A and B look correct, okay? Said, what is the motivation behind the blockade? Okay, it's that he wanted to control the whole city. Okay, that's the motivation. His ultimate goal was to make it a permanent part of East Germany. So, on your paper, number 4, let's go to the next one, okay? All right, when the Soviets blocked supplies from entering Berlin by land, President Harry Truman was determined to contain communism. That's containment, okay? It's stopping the spread of communism. By airlifting supplies into the city. The success of the Berlin airlift contributed to the formation of what? Okay? Well, if you read the notes and you followed along with me, you would know that it's NATO. Okay? North Atlantic Treaty Organization. You need to know it as NATO. You need to know it as the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, because I don't know how they're going to ask you on the LEAP test. Okay? So because we were successful, we showed that we could stop the spread of communism. We created a totally new organization with the goal of stopping the spread of communism. All right, how did the Berlin airlift exemplify or show the U.S. foreign policy of containment? So how does this show that we contain the situation? The Soviets donated food and other goods to German people in need. The Americans demonstrated technology superior to that of the Soviets. The U.S. prevented the Soviets from taking control of the entire city. Yeah, that right there, that's containment, isn't it? Stopping the spread, okay? So C is the correct answer on that. And we're going to go ahead and press pause, and we're going to come back with another video, okay?